Haha, we are now live on YouTube. Quick, do something entertaining. Yeah, I got nothing too.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing just fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was the settings reset?
Cool. Eric seems confident.
Okay, good.
Can you all hear me?
White can hear you.
Is Alex Talon here? Alex Talon?
I don't see him on the. Oh, never mind.
Oh, let's try that. How about now? Can you hear what we're saying?
Okay. I think it is working on the microphone. Jenny, where are you at? Thanks for
for the purposes of the Zoom channel, if you are in the room, please do not be on Zoom. We're having a bandwidth issue that is causing a problem with the video. That said, if you need to be on it, you're going to be on no matter what.
All right, part of our technical issues are possibly arising from everybody sharing the Wi-Fi. So if you have a data plan, please go ahead and switch to that instead of using the Wi-Fi, if that's an option for you. And we're ready to get started. My name is Timothy Perkins. I'm the current chair of the Libertarian Party of Oregon. I have been since 2017 and, since 2019. I've been on the board since 2017. And I've never seen so many of you in a room at the same time. This is really exciting. So again, give yourselves a hand. And we're going to have Spike here. And Will, can you confirm for me? Okay, so you'll let me know there. So I just want to share with you a couple of things that have been happening this board term. One, we've had just some really great people come onto the board. We've had Will Hobson, we've had Peter Vandenberg. We have had a lot of forward momentum, I want to say, and that's part of why this convention has been a success. Personally, for me, serving in the 2017-2019 board of directors, it was kind of frustrating when in 2019 we weren't able to make quorum. And part of that was because there wasn't as much energy as there is now. So just on a personal level, I'm very excited to see the incoming board and the current board doing so much. And also our membership activity has significantly increased. I don't know if everybody here is in the Libertarian Party of Oregon Facebook group. We also have a MeWe page and group, but there's a lot of activity there as well. Great place to connect with other libertarians. We've also definitely had some challenges. Something that is rather unusual among libertarian parties is that we have a mail-in ballot process, just like the state of Oregon does, and that costs a lot of money. Back in the 2018 election, we actually weren't able to ballot all of our members. Thankfully, we were able to do so in 2020. But every election, it's always been a struggle to have enough money to send out enough envelopes. We have almost 22,000 members at the moment, and all of them have to receive an envelope with multiple sheets in it, and that money adds up. So I'm really excited about some of the bylaws amendments here that are being proposed today. We're hopefully going to be able to save the party some money and be able to put that to more important things. Today, we're going to be considering bylaws amendments. We're going to be hearing from some speakers. We're going to be hearing from Spike Cohen, Buck Johnson, Thaddeus Russell, Leon Noble, and Anthony Welty. And then don't forget to stick around for the after party. There's going to be some libertarian stand-up. Right now, does anybody, before we get going, does anybody have some questions? Because right now we have a little bit of dead time as we're waiting for our speakers to come in. Right over here. Anthony Welty and Spike Cohen are remote. Buck Johnson, Thaddeus Russell, and Leon Noble are here in person. And then the after party entertainment is also in person. Richard. We're going to be doing that a little bit later. So right now, you probably aren't going to be able to access it because we have to complete the credentialing stuff first. Any other questions? All right. We're going to be at ease for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to be hearing from Spike. Thanks. Who here knows who Spike Cohen is? I'm really excited to hear what Spike has to tell us. As almost everybody in the room knows, Spike was the vice presidential candidate for the 2020 election cycle, along with Joe, and we're really happy that he's able to join us this morning. Spike, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you. And before I get started, I just want to ask you guys to give yourselves a round of applause. Libertarian Party of Oregon, thank you so much for the hard work that you are doing to build this party at the grassroots. Give yourselves a round of applause. And I appreciate you giving me this bit of time to talk with you. I promise I'm not going to drone on too much. They're not going to let me. They'll cut me off. The beauty of having me remotely is they can just cut me off if I go over time. So, folks, we're all here for the same reason, right? We know why we're here. We're here to set Oregon free. We're here to set America free. We're here to end wars. We're here to end the Fed. We're here to end the war on drugs. We're here to end these lockdowns once and for all, not just for now, but ever in the future. We're here to end the authority of your governor and governors across the country to tell you whether or not you're essential, whether or not you're allowed to go outside, whether or not you're allowed to be able to live your life and thrive. We're here to set people free. here in Oregon and across the country. And I thank you for the hard work that you are doing. The reason I'm here today is because I noticed something that I am actually seeing a change to. When I first started giving these speeches, the beginning of this year, I talked about what needed to be changed in order for us to get out of, I guess, startup mode and get into the next level of really taking off. You know, we are out of that phase of, you know, having legitimacy within our own ranks and party, and we're now in the mode of having hundreds of elected officials and building upon that election cycle. So now, instead of talking about what we need to do, I guess I'm going to be talking more about what we are doing and what changes are happening. I want to talk about the fact that this April this year, we had some special elections across the country, and Libertarians ran in a good number of those special elections. And of those races that we targeted, we won 44% of those races. We won a higher percentage of those races than the Republicans or the Democrats did. That is unheard of. That is, if you had told a libertarian that even 10 years ago, much less 30 or 40 years ago, that we would contest races in multiple states and that we'd win a higher percentage of them than either of the Republican parties, they would be gobsmacked. They'd say there's absolutely no way. That is where we have come in a very short period of time. But I want to reflect on what I've seen in the past that has happened and what we are getting away from, and I'm happy to see that we are getting away from. I ran with Joe for the White House last year, and I got to travel across the country, including 2 stops in Oregon. We got to go around the country and spread the message of liberty, use whatever attention we could get from the media, which unfortunately was not much, but from the national media, to spread the message of liberty and use it as a bullhorn for liberty. And more importantly, to use the local media that we could get when we go into different areas to bring attention to the party and to the down ballot candidates that were running in your state. And we were very successful on that. And I'd like to think that the numbers speak for themselves on that. We've seen a nearly 50% increase in membership at the national level and similar increases at the state level in the last year and a half. We can't take all the credit for that, but I think we can share some of the credit with the hard work that y'all are doing there at the state level to get that done, both for state and national membership. We have the highest number of registered libertarians across the country that we've ever had, and that grew by double digits. We have hundreds of libertarians that have been elected across the country, and we're adding to that in every single election cycle. So we are doing incredible work, and we are doing. I think that we got a lot accomplished. And Joe and I also got the second highest number of votes that the Libertarian Party has ever gotten, and the highest number of votes that we've ever gotten during a presidential reelection race. But we got just over 1%, and it was disappointing. And I was very concerned that immediately after the election, I started getting phone calls and text messages congratulating us on how we did. And I said, well, that's nice. Thank you. Why are you congratulating us? We got 1.2% or 1.3%, whatever it was. And they said, well, you know, all the things I just said, you know, we have all these new elected libertarians, and the memberships have gone up, and the registered libertarians have gone up, and it's the second highest number that we've ever gotten, and so forth. And I went, okay, why are you congratulating me though? That's some great stuff that the party's done, but why are you congratulating us? And I realized something, because the answers that I would get back from people were, well, you couldn't have won because the media has it out for us, and they're not going to let us on the debate stage, and they're not going to give us any attention. And essentially all hope is lost. So great job getting 1%. Now let's go end the Fed. And I thought, well, here's an interesting cognitive dissonance that's happening within the party. And it's something that I call a culture of losing. And it's something that I think started as a legitimate attempt to cope with the fact that we were far outnumbered and to kind of make peace with that. But it's sort of turned into a type of nesting where we have this cycle every 4 years. It starts during the election cycle. And I will say or starts during the campaign season that we're seeing right now. And I will say things have changed. I've been to a lot of conventions since I started talking about this, and I am seeing the change. We would often get together and we would talk about all of our aspirational goals. We're ending the Fed, we're ending the wars, we're ending this, we're ending that. We're going to take over the White House, we're going to set America free, we're going to take over the world and leave everyone alone. But then we wouldn't really have a blueprint for doing that. And so that would leave people at the local level to just kind of figure out, well, what are we? I guess we're running for the city council race. I guess we're running for this. I guess we're running for that. And so we have some successes because we do have the best ideas, but we didn't have an actual cohesive blueprint. And what happens when you give people with the same aspirational goals, no real cohesive blueprint, they often end up doing a lot of infighting. And they're now kind of arguing with each other about why we're not getting ahead, which makes things worse. Because now instead of fighting the actual opponent, the actual enemy, we're now fighting each other like we're the enemy. And then, we get to the election cycle, we argue over who the presidential candidate should be. And then when that presidential candidate scores whatever single digit number they score, then we go back to saying, oh, all hope is lost and there's nothing we could have done about it. And then we repeat the cycle every 4 years. What I have been really happy to see across almost all of the state conventions I've been to is that that's not happening anymore. People are saying, look at the numbers of people that we've brought in, look at the membership that we have. Now let's go identify races that we can win in, especially municipal races, citywide races, countywide races. Let's go find those races and let's pour the resources into them, the time and the effort and the money into them to win those races. Yes, let's run congressional candidates, let's run senatorial candidates, let's run gubernatorial candidates, and let's do our best to get as much as we can, as much attention and as high of a vote count as we can. But let's also focus attention on the races that we know that are well within our grasp of being able to win without some kind of, having to have lightning strike twice. And so it has been, I hope that I can take a little bit of credit for this, but honestly, I can only take a minimal amount of credit for it, because when I've gone to these conventions and said this, I've seen that that's exactly what they're doing. And I am very happy to report that we are building a culture of winning within this party. And the beauty of building that culture of winning is not only that it gives us something to do other than attack each other and fight each other, it gives us actual actionable goals to build on and to win, to push things forward. It also kills all the narratives for why a lot of people don't vote for us at the national level. We've seen all of the opinion polls that show something like 65+% of Americans want a viable third party to vote for. And we hear that, we say, hey, that's great news. We're the Libertarian Party. We're a viable third party. And they look at us and say, no, we meant something different than that. We meant like someone that could win. And that pisses us off because we're like, well, we'd win if you'd vote for us. And it's a maddening thing to experience, right? But here's what they're actually saying. We want a third party that I think will win even without my vote. Now, I can hear the brains exploding in that room, right? Because it's like, okay, you want a party that can win, but you don't want to have to vote for us to be able to win. You want to know that before you'll vote for us, instead of voting for us so that we can win. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that right now. This is completely irrational, does not make sense, and it's how the vast majority of voters think, and there's not really a lot we can do about it. But here's what we can do. We can kill the narratives for why they're not voting for us. Here are the four main things I heard over and over again when people would say, your ideas sound the best, but here are the four things I would hear. Number one, you don't win. You can't win. Again, I want to say it would help if you voted. That we'd be one vote close to winning, but that's what they say. You can't win. Number two, your ideas sound great, but how do I know they'll work? How do I know that these aren't just fanciful theories that won't really work in reality? The third thing that I hear is how come I only hear from you for a few weeks or a couple months right before election day? And then the final thing, if there is another reason, that sort of trailing fourth reason is all I ever see libertarians do is argue with people. So here is how we kill those narratives. When we win, and my goal is for us to win 1,000 races between now and the midterms, and I think that that's completely doable. I think we can win several hundred, we could even win more than 1,000 by focusing our efforts on those municipal and countywide and state legislative races that we're able to win, that we have the resources and tools and wherewithal to be able to win right now. We can have a huge gold wave of wins across the country. And when we do that, we kill all of their bad narratives. You can't win. Yeah, we do. We win. We just won hundreds of races across the country. Your ideas sound good, but will they really work? Yeah, you can see how they're working in cities and municipalities across the country. You can see how we're bringing the best ideas to the table and making things better with our ideas and our principles. I only hear from you for a few weeks every elections, right before election day. No, you don't. You hear from us all the time in our communities, in our city councils, in our county councils, and showing up to events as well. And that's something we can do as libertarians even before we get elected, is showing up to events in our community, being involved in our community to show them that libertarians do care. And then the final thing, if they even know about this, well, you guys do a lot of infighting. No, not really. We actually are doing a lot of winning. When we do that, then someone that might not be ready to vote for a libertarian in the White House says, well, I'll give my vote to a libertarian at the citywide level. I'll give a vote to a libertarian running for state rep. I'll give a vote to a libertarian running for governor, for some other statewide race, secretary of state, something like that. I'll give my vote to a libertarian running for Congress or for Senate, and eventually, yes, I'll give my vote to a libertarian running for the White House. This is normie outreach, and it is maddening and frustrating because they don't think like us, and almost everything that they're thinking is irrational. And we need to understand that we're not going to win them over with our logical arguments, because we already would have if we were going to. We win them over by showing that we care about them, by meeting them where they are and showing that we care about them, getting involved in our communities, by showing them that we understand what their concerns are, by showing them that we can explain how we got there, how their issues and concerns came to fruition, and then show them our solution. That's when the logic and the policy comes in, once we've made that connection with them. And that's what happens when we focus at the grassroots level. And the other thing is that a lot of the day-to-day tyranny that we experience is not happening from the federal government or even from the state government. It's happening at the city level, at the levels that we can win right now. So not only are we effectively fighting the most acute daily infringements on our lives and rights and properties, but we're also building the ground game to be able to make those bigger wins in the future and to set Oregon free and to set America free. And so I will leave you with this. I will say this. So there are times when it can feel as though things are hopeless. We look at the odds that we are facing and we think, man, we are wholly outnumbered and outgunned and outspent and out-mediaed and out everything. And I want you to keep in mind, when you think of that, I want you to keep in mind something. If you look at every major movement, not just in this country, but around the world, that has resulted in the bettering of the lives of people and of setting people free, the Magna Carta, the ending of slavery, civil rights movement, any of these movements that have happened, the American Revolution, all of these things started with small groups of people who looked at the odds that they were facing, who looked at how hopeless the numbers looked and didn't care. They kept fighting because they didn't care how hopeless it looked. They didn't care how bad the odds were stacked against them. They didn't care if even their loved ones were telling them that all hope was lost. They didn't care if they were in danger in doing all of this, because they knew that the only alternative to continuing to fight was to just shrug their shoulders and say, I guess it's going to be this way. And that was unacceptable to them. That is unacceptable to you. And that's why you're here. We will win. Liberty will win. And when we win, when we end those wars, when we end the Fed, when we end these unjust taxes, when we end police brutality, when we end the war on victimless crimes, when we end the treatment of people like commodities instead of like people, when we take the power back and put it back in the hands of us and the people where it always belonged, it will be you that people talk about. You will be the ones that people talk about, the trailblazers that simply would not give up until liberty won. And I am honored to be working with you every day to push liberty forward. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for your time here. And thank you for what you're doing in Oregon. Let's go set Oregon free. And I can't wait to see y'all again. I do got to go, but I can't wait to be back in Oregon. I love y'all. See you soon.
I like Spike. All right, so at this point, we're ready to switch over to a hopefully brief, tech stuff is never brief, hopefully brief training on the Porcupine app. So for those of you who are delegates, I need you to make sure that you have access to the email that you used to sign up with. And then we're going to hear from Kyle Markley, who's participating via Zoom as a delegate, as a credentialer, and as the Porcupine app admin. So can we have Kyle here on the Zoom to explain to everyone what we need to do in order to be able to successfully use our voting software?
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you, Kyle.
Oh, that's great. So I have started a share, which I hope that you can see on your projection screen there, of the Porcupine app. I hope that many of you are already at least a little bit familiar with this, and perhaps even came to one of the training sessions beforehand. So this is a hybrid convention. We have some people in person, some people remote, and we are going to try to do all voting through this app. If you are having any technical problems and you are in person, please go find the credentialing desk or the credentialing folks and they can help you. If you are remote and having technical trouble, please come back to the credentialing Zoom invite that was in your email that you used this morning. Hopefully people will not have technical problems with the app, but we'll see. If you please try to log into your apps now, which you can do at lporegon.org/porcupine, or directly at this URL, webmeetings.app, which is less typing if you're typing. When you log in, you should see a screen that looks roughly like this. You'll have on the top line, there's a menu that has take action. Yours will not have admin. There's some information, and then in your account, you'll have an option to look at your profile or log out. All the action for us today is going to be over here in the appropriately named Take Action area. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to Queues. When you wish to address the convention, we ask that everybody use this system to let us know that you'd like to speak. This is going to give fairness for people who are remote versus in person by putting everybody in the same queue. Timothy will be looking at the queue and he will be popping off the most important items, taking people in order, depending on what kind of motions they've got, and asking them to speak. If you're on the remote, you'll of course need to unmute and say your piece. If you're in person, you'll come to a microphone.
Kyle?
Yes.
Timothy? We are having some people who, when they go to webmeetings.app, they are having a loading screen. All they need to do is hit the account and log in up in the upper right corner. Is that correct?
That should be, yes.
Okay.
And if you have not already reset your password, you will need to do that. On the login page, underneath where you would type in your email, there's a button that says, I forgot my password or reset my password or something like that. If you have never logged in before, then you will have to do that first, and it will email you with the instructions to actually log into the app.
So if you have a page that says loading, look for the account in the upper right-hand corner, and then underneath of that, go to login, and Kyle's saying that you'll need to reset your password at the email that we have for you.
So for most of the remote folks, we were able to verify ahead of time that they could indeed access their app. The in-person folks, many of you might need to do the password reset. I do see a couple people are joining the queue already, and that's great. This is exactly the kind of test that we should do. It would be useful for people now to try to join the LPO queue. You can get your app out under Take Action.
Just that some of you showed up today and you did not pre-register. We're glad to have you, but your email is not necessarily going to be in here yet. So if you showed up today without pre-registering first, when you go to account and log in, please use register. And then once we've sent your name on to Kyle, you'll be able to enter the Porcupine app as well.
If anyone who walked in should probably go through credentialing folks who are there in person to get your access. Okay, so I see several people have been able to join the queue. I'm going to just show you what it looks like. Sorry, Timothy?
Could you repeat what you had just said a moment ago?
Yes, if people were in this situation of had not pre-registered but had been walk-ins, then they should go see one of the in-person credentialers who can give them their account access in Porcupine. You'll need to create your Porcupine account first, and then the credentialing people will be able to give you access.
I'm going to start working with the credentialers on that. They are not quite set up to do that.
Oh, does that mean that, do we have a large number of people then, all the in-person delegates who might not have been given their Porcupine access yet? Yes?
Quite.
Okay. Well, then we'll have to go check that, won't we? Should I continue a demonstration, or should I hurry over and start giving people access who don't have it yet?
Some people don't have access yet, so your help with that would help.
Okay, I will focus on access.
So
So we'll all stand at ease for a few minutes.
if you do not have access to Porcupine, please go over to the channel to get help set up.
If you're on Zoom, just understand that there's about 20 odd people here who are not yet registered into Porcupine. So you'll just need to be patient while we get that done before we continue with the demonstration of how to use Porcupine.
Kyle, this is Timothy again.
Yes.
If someone registers, should they expect to receive an email after registration?
I don't think so.
Okay, so if you register, if you go to account and log in and register, you should not necessarily expect a follow-up email. Your name will be in there, and then once we have your name over to Kyle, he'll let you in.
The on-site credentialers, by the way, also do have Porcupine access to give access to the other folks. But I'm already going down the list.
Check. If you went to porcupine.live, we are not using that server. So that is a confusion that we've had come up now. Porcupine.live
isn't going to help you out, you're going to need to go to lporegon.org/porcupine or directly to webmeetings.app. I have discovered something that I'm going to share with everyone. There is a dual system in this system. Once you log in, you are probably logged in just fine. You may not be credentialed yet. And as a result, it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to kick through and let you into the rest of the system. Just have some patience once you get in. My page was pretty much blank, but I could see the delegates under information. So you might go look there and see if your name is green. If your name is green, you should be credentialed.
Yes, you will see that updating in real time as I'm getting people added.
I had this issue, and I know someone else did too. It may look like you're stuck on the login page. even though you've already hit login. Can you hear me now? Okay, so it might look like you're stuck on the login page, but if you go up to the top right and hit account, if it says log out as an option, you're actually logged in. And you can go to the upper left part to take action and join the queue.
Okay, hello, everybody. I've gone through the spreadsheet and I believe I've given access within the Porcupine app to all the people who should have it. So please go to your apps again and see if you can go to the Take Action page and go to see if you see a page that resembles this. If you do see a page that resembles this, please try to join the queue. It doesn't matter what you join with, but try to join the queue just to prove that it's working. If you do not see a page that resembles this, and you do not see a Join LPO queue button, then please bring that to my attention or the attention of someone in person.
Kyle, could it be useful for them to log out and log back in?
That should not matter, but it might be useful.
I have a question for you, Kyle.
Yes,
Kyle, I have a question.
go ahead.
So if we get to the spot where it says the server was unable to authorize you, please double check your email and password. Are you sure you are registered with the system? You can request an email to reset your password. So how do we check to see if we're registered?
In that case, you'll need to check with one of the credentialers who can get into the system and see what email addresses do exist in the system. It's possible that maybe your email isn't in the system at all, or maybe something was misspelled.
So if we're registered already at the last training, then we should be registered.
No, going through the training does not register you for this. It was on a different server and they've redeployed a bunch of things. So all the accounts are from scratch.
I see. So everybody's starting from scratch.
Yes. So Timothy, what is your sense of status in the room? Are there a lot of people having trouble with the app right now, or is it just a few?
Raise your hand if you think that you're in. Okay, that was over half the room. Okay, switch. Raise your hand if you're still having some sort of a problem. That's a lot more manageable. Okay, if you're still having a problem, come over here closer to credentialing, and we're going to try to work through all one by one if we have to. So it looks like we have at least 2/3, Kyle, that they're in.
Whew. Technology is great, isn't it? So if there are any specific names you'd like to tell me that I can help with remotely, I'm able to do that as well.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's a good story because he had one. My daughter, she's 13.
Check, check, check. All right. Hey, everybody. So we have most of you in there. Most of you it is working for. What we're going to do is this. We are going to slowly try to work through the people who it is not currently working for. But in the meantime, we're going to continue. If it is not working for you, raise your hand. If you have your hand up, your votes are going to need to be tabulated manually. It sucks, but we got to move on with the business. So we're still going to be trying to resolve your issues. But in the meantime, let's get the show on the road. So we're going to give it just a couple minutes, make sure everybody can get in here, and we'll do a quick count, make sure that we have enough people. I do want to say everybody who's participating via Zoom, as far as we know, it's working for them. So we do have our remote participants able to participate. So thank you.
Okay, so Timothy, would you like to go forward with a little demo on the queue and on a poll, or do you want to move immediately to business?
We should finish the porcupine demonstration.
Okay. So people who are in the queue right now, if you'd like to remove yourself from the queue, you can. Just click on your name and it should take you off. You will see when you try to join the queue that there are many different options. Well, my screen won't stay put. So we have many different categories for speaking. I don't know why it's going away every time it refreshes. I hope that stops. Uh-oh. They are somewhat self-explanatory if you're familiar a little bit with parliamentary procedure. If you are not, then these may be baffling to you, and that's okay. You can always put yourself in as other, and then you can make the chair figure it out. That could be fun. The most important things for the bylaws amendment discussions that we will have is when you join, you will want to do speak for or speak against, because we would like to be able to go back and forth between the for and against and get both sides and not lose all of our time talking about, one side versus the other, but to go back and forth. Okay, I'm going to try to flush the queue now. And I think we will try a demonstration of a vote. So if everybody will go to take action and go to vote, I'm going to put an example poll question. And then you will have an opportunity to vote on that once I put it in. And now I can't get the vote page to load. There we go. So you'll have an option now that this has come up. It should show up within a few seconds to all of your apps. And I see that a bunch of people are voting already. You click the vote button. You can say aye, nay, or abstain. I will abstain at this point. And this poll will be active for the time indicated. There's a countdown clock on it. In these polls, you do not have an opportunity to change your vote. So please be confident that you're voting in the manner you intend before you click that button. And when time is out, then we will have the results for this poll. Oh, yes, Timothy gave me a better question to ask. But in the interest of time, I won't ask that one also. It's encouraging that so many people were able to use the system to vote. This is a pretty big list. I'm happy about that. People in the room, you can practice saying A or nay. And in a few seconds, it will disappear from this page because it is no longer an active poll. And we'll see instead that it goes to a different section. It hasn't disappeared by itself. It should move to the past questions section, but it hasn't. I wonder, do I need to inactivate that or something? Yes, I think I do. Oh, okay, so I have to do that on the back end. So here's the poll, is technology great? Oh, and it's not, okay, it is not here showing the results to everyone, which is very unfortunate, but I think we will have to live with that. I have the results. Okay, if I reload, then no, everything is 0.
It's a very definitive answer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, let us try a new poll. I'm going to vote on that. And let's see if we can get our results. So we can see our results while voting is occurring, but then it all disappeared at the end, which was quite a surprise. And Timothy, this may be something that we need to call TJ about.
He
I
has
don't know where the he's what?
I just called him.
Okay. If the system can take our votes but not keep our votes, that'll be a problem.
Until the poll ends. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we're watching at the end and copy those numbers before they disappear, it'll be okay.
Okay.
Okay. Time has elapsed here. I'm just going to reload. Oh, I think he did change it that we could change our votes if we want to. Or did I not vote on this one? No, I think I did. Oh no, we can change it. No, it's a duplicate. I'm sorry. He explained this to me before. If you do attempt to vote more than once, I believe it takes your first vote only. So you still can't actually
Changing.
What was that, Timothy?
The percentages are changing.
I wonder if duplicate elimination system is not working. And it should have automatically inactivated when the timer ran out, and it did not.
So the question hasn't deactivated, and multiple votes are
being allowed.
So at this point, I'm suggesting that we put the hold on Porcupine
Yep.
and switch to a backup.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so what would you like our backup to be? Would you like the remote attendees to just email me or something? And I'll add them all up? We could put them in the Zoom chat. Actually, I think that would work fairly well. What about Zoom polls? Zoom has a poll feature.
Zoom has polls. We're going to have to redo the poll room. So what we're going to have to do for the Zoom attendees is we are going to have Zoom polls, but we have to change the settings in the convention Zoom account. Once we've changed that setting to allow polls, we're going to have to restart the Zoom. It will be the same ID, the same Zoom link. So as soon as the meeting ends, you should be able to use the same Zoom link to get back in. We're working on that. So everybody who's in person, we're going to be doing voting the old-fashioned way. And those in Zoom, we're going to be having a Zoom poll that we can display on the screen, and it will show the counts of what the people over Zoom are thinking. And then it's up to me to decide whether or not that looks right, whether or not something passed. And if anybody has a problem with how I called something, you can object and we can do a head count. Couple of minutes, we'll reset the Zoom and then we'll get going.